I should have kept driving. That's the part that stays with me, not what happened after, but the exact moment when I still had that option. My foot was already easing off the gas before I admitted to myself that I'd decided. It was late, but not the dramatic kind of late. Around 9:30, early autumn, the sky still had a smear of light and the road was familiar enough that I wasn't alert in the way you are on truly empty highways. Route 17, 2 lanes, no shoulder to speak of. I'd driven it every week for years. The man was standing just past the bend where the trees open up into one of those unofficial pull-offs. Packed dirt, old tire marks, a discarded soda cup bleached white by the sun. He wasn't waving. That should have mattered more than it did. He was just standing there, hands at his sides, facing traffic as if he'd been placed there. I remembered thinking, he's going to step out too late and get hit. That was the thought that made me slow down. When I rolled my window down, the air smelled like damp leaves and engine heat. He leaned slightly toward the car, but didn't rest his arms on the door the way people usually do. Mid-40s maybe, clean jacket, no visible blood, no panic. He looked embarrassed. "My car won't start," he said. His voice was steady, almost careful. "Any chance you could give me a lift to the station? It's not far." I told him I didn't have much gas, and that was true. The needle hovered just above empty, glowing faintly. "That's fine," he said quickly. "Just a mile or so. I'd walk, but my knee's acting up." He gestured vaguely downward. No limp at all, though, when he shifted his weight. I hesitated long enough that it became rude. You can feel the moment when politeness turns into something heavier, an expectation you're now responsible for managing. I unlocked the passenger door. "Okay," I said, "but just to the station." He smiled, more gratitude, relief, got in. The door closed softly. That was another thing I noticed too late. He didn't slam it. He didn't fumble. He moved like someone who had done this before, who knew exactly how much space he took up. We drove in silence for a minute. The radio was on low, talk radio, a caller complaining about zoning laws. I turned it down, more out of habit than courtesy. "Thank you," he said, "really." "No problem," I replied, and kept my eyes on the road. After another stretch of quiet, he said, "You drive this a lot." It wasn't a question. "Yeah," I said, "work." "I thought so." "You took the bend slow." I felt a small, sharp flicker of irritation. People say things like that all the time, like they're being friendly. Still, I didn't like it. A little farther on, he said, "You can pull over here, actually." "The station's ahead," I said, "just another minute." "No," he said, still calm, "not the gas station, the rest stop." I glanced at him. He was looking forward, not at me. There was a rest stop, closed at night officially, but it had working lights and vending machines that sometimes did. People used it anyway. I said the station," I replied. He nodded. "Right, I just meant it's easier to turn around here." That didn't make any sense. There was no need to turn around. I opened my mouth to say so, then didn't. The road dipped slightly, and the trees thickened. The rest stop sign loomed out of the dark, reflective paint catching my headlights. I don't know why I pulled in. I remember thinking about how tired I was, about the email I still hadn't answered, the leftovers waiting in the fridge, the way stopping for gas felt like too much effort already. I told myself this was helping, that pulling in was safer than arguing on the road, that I could leave at any time. I even checked the clock on the dashboard like that mattered. 9:47. I gave myself a quiet deadline and never said it out loud. Just a minute. Just enough to be reasonable. Just enough that I wouldn't have to think about it later. I tell myself it was momentum, that it felt worse to argue than to comply, that it was only for a second. The parking lot was empty except for one other car, an older sedan parked crookedly near the building. Its interior light was on. "Just here is fine," he said. I stopped. The engine idled. A faint ticking sound underneath the hum. He didn't get out right away. Instead, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it between us, not offering, just letting it be seen. Before I go, he said, I need you to understand something. My heart rate jumped. I could hear it in my ears, loud and embarrassing. I don't want trouble, I said. He smiled slightly. Neither do I. He unfolded the paper and smoothed it on his knee. It was a printed form, creased, handled often. At the top was a logo I recognized from some local mailers, community services maybe. You see, he continued, I'm not supposed to ask directly, but if someone offers help, it counts. What counts as what? I asked, confused. He finally turned to look at me. His eyes were very focused, not angry, not wild, evaluating. Assistance, he said. Transportation assistance, specifically. I just gave you a ride, I said. That's it, you're here. Yes, he agreed, you did. From the other car, a shape moved. The interior light flickered, then steadied. I saw a woman's silhouette in the driver's seat, head bowed. She's been here a while, he said conversationally. Battery's dead. I stared straight ahead. You should call roadside assistance. She did. They said 2 hours. The vending machine inside the rest stop buzzed, although a mechanical sound that seemed too loud in the quiet lot. You don't have to do anything else, he went on. I just need to log that someone stopped. Log it where? I asked. He tapped the paper, just a formality. I thought of my gas gauge, of the dark road behind me, of how small the parking lot felt, suddenly enclosed by trees. Can I leave? I asked. He nodded immediately. Of course. I put the car in reverse. My hands were shaking. The backup camera washed the screen in grainy light, showing nothing but asphalt. As I pulled away, I saw him step out of the car in the side mirror. He didn't go toward the rest stop. He walked to the other sedan and leaned down to the driver's window. I drove all the way home with the radio off. The next morning, there was a local alert on my phone. Woman found deceased overnight at Route 17 rest area. No foul play suspected. In the comments, someone wrote, why didn't anyone help her? I almost replied. I typed out 3 different versions and deleted all of them. I still drive that road. I still slow down at that bend, and every time I feel the exact same relief when there's no one standing there, followed by something worse when I realize how quickly I had decided what kind of person I was going to be.